I just think my own capacity to love has been much more.
If this meditation has such a fulfilling, enriching effect, why haven't more people started practicing this type of yoga? Why is it not everyone who wants to experience this wonder?
My feeling is that it's very hard for people to believe that it's possible to have such a system. It's very hard to receive. Very hard to have the idea that you can receive something as beautiful as this. And I think people really long for it, but they are terrified to actually hope, let alone believe that this could really be something for them.
The time of parting, whether after 2 weeks or 4 weeks, at some point the time together with the Master is over, and the things experienced while with him will be carried over into everyday life. Parting is the sometimes painful necessity that frees us from the past and opens the way for new advancement. Parting from people and places which have become dear, but also from old behaviors, from outmoded attitudes and patterns. Just as for the Master himself, the departure to the new world also means a parting from his own home. The United States of America, the land of seemingly unlimited possibilities, the dream of freedom and sheer unending expansion. Here many people rely on the things they can have, possess, accumulate. Here too people have begun to realize that mankind has reached the limits of the feasible. The euphoria came to an end and the poverty can no longer be overlooked. Here, a few miles from Atlanta in the south of the US, people are also poor. There's no social security, no old age pensions, just a belief in Jesus Christ. This is the middle of the Bible Belt, America's most pious area. And just down the road, the Sahaj Marg mission acquired a sizable plot of ground for an ashram. On this, the day of inauguration, a tree is being planted, the symbol of a new beginning. In less than 1 year, the members of the mission have built a meditation center, complete with infrastructure to accommodate about 200 seminar participants. For our Master, the US embodies a confrontation with a completely different, largely materialistic culture. The problems arising in a society are often those of increasingly lonely and isolated people whose lives are determined primarily by competition and existential fears. Questions that involve mainly psychological and partnership issues. What is wrong with the relationships? Why doesn't anything work anymore?
Why? Because people are not willing to put anything into the relationship. They only want to take out all the time. Killing the goose that lays the golden egg. You get married and you expect bliss. Have you given bliss? Have you ever tried to give to your partner in your marriage or in your relationship with somebody else, yourself? I'm not talking of the body, of course. That is freely given, freely received, and freely thrown away. What you do not give, you never get. This is the law in spirituality. Give before you can receive. Give a little, receive a little. Give more, get more. Give all, get all. Now we cannot play with human beings like we play with automobiles. See? We cannot use them and throw them back and say, I don't like this model, give me another one. We don't shop for human beings. They are not returnable objects. If a human being is not shoppable, how can you shop for God? How can you return him? Where will you put him back? I don't know if God says such a person should be shot. But you know, these are real questions you should ask yourself. From where will I get God? Where does he go when I don't need him? Can I ever send him away? He that is myself, the prime mover of my existence, without whom I cannot even breathe.
The river of life has neither beginning nor end, and its essence is love. It flows regardless of whether we entrust ourselves to it or not. The love of which we speak is often only a kind of romanticism. But love is life, and in spiritual love there is no death. The Master says that physical death is merely a transition from one form to the next. Only in spirituality does one recognize that love has completely different dimensions once it grows beyond our small, ego-related expectations. That does not mean that there is no longer a place for the love between two human beings. Saj Mark approves of, for example, marriage, family and children. That can be seen not only in this ashram in Jutland, the peninsula of Denmark. Children that grow up in an environment of spiritual harmony have much greater chances of developing into well-balanced, satisfied people.
Because by working for yourself,
This is why the children enjoy Chari's great affection. He seeks contact with them ever and again, including adolescents, as at this meeting in Denmark.
På den måde kan hele menneskehedens fremtid faktisk forandre sig.
you should not think that how can I change the world.
I skal ikke tænke på, hvad hjælper det, at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 forandrer verden. Det skal I ikke tænke på. Tænk på, at det kan lade sig gøre.
You are not going to change the world.
Det er ikke jer enkeltvis, der skal forandre verden.
But when you change, the world will change. So we should not have this funny idea that you are going to change the world or I am going to change the world. But it is a very real thing.
Men det er en virkelig ting.
That when even one person changes,
at når bare en person forandrer sig,
the world changes in some way.
Chari spends about 4 months of every year traveling in the West: France, Denmark, Switzerland, Germany. The expenses for his travels are assumed by the individual centers because he wouldn't be able to afford these trips on his pension. The members of the mission contribute to cover these costs. A constant companion on his trips to the West is Jackie Baruch of Paris. But accompanying the master is more than just a nice trip. It is a constant and intensive learning experience.
First time I saw him, I had a strong feeling about that man. The human level, of course. I was not looking for a master or something like that. And when I saw him first, I had the feeling this is one man I can trust. In his eyes there was something truthful, and being all the time with him, you have to be yourself, otherwise you cannot stay. That is true. So you have to expose your défaut, your qualité, whatever it is, but you are yourself. Whatever is necessary for you, he will help you to develop the things. I always felt his help. Even when he was stuck with me, I felt if he didn't say something at that moment, it was as if he has no consideration, It's really a relation like a father can have with his son, with his daughter. It's the whole panoply of the family is in the picture.
Regardless of what kind of relationship a disciple has established to his external master, the human being, the challenge is to let fall the masks behind which we hide and to discover the master within ourselves, to become like a child again. It is the children to whom the future belongs. If we want to give them a future, and this is surely also the future of this planet, we have to respect their physical and their spiritual needs. Chari too includes his grandson Bhargav in his plans for the future, for example in the plans of the Madras ashram. But ashrams are certainly not child's play. because like the Sahaj Marg organization itself, the construction of ashrams is entirely dependent on donations. Why don't they charge any money?
I am tempted to say that should we ever charge, we would charge you 1,000,000 times more than the most expensive other systems existence, because that is its efficacy. But precisely for that reason we have no charge, because there can be no charge for such a system. You see, when a doctor gives you life, really when you are in danger of death and he pulls you out of that death and gives you life, are his fees sufficient to pay him for his service to you? It is to help him to live so that he can help another patient to be brought out of death like that. When Jesus Christ raised Lazarus out of the dead or from death, did he charge him a fee? When he cured the lepers, did he charge them a fee? So strictly, the ancient law in India is you cannot charge for these things. In fact, in India it is forbidden even to charge for teaching.
The secret is very simple. The Master teaches us that in this life we're all in the same boat. If we allow him to teach us how to row, then we will have a safe journey of evolution. But even if we accept him as the pilot, we ourselves still have to row in order to cross the sea of love.